All right, guys, welcome back to another edition of the Short-Sighted Golf Show. Again, not really a podcast. We kind of say it's the anti-podcast. We just do, talk for 20 to 30 minutes on some topics. And we have a fun one this time around. We did betting and we did a weekly recap. We have SB. We have a new addition to the podcast on this episode, and we're just going to. We poured some bourbons. We have some drinks. I think Shozy has a mango White Claw in his possession, and we're just going to go over some kind of fun topics that have been on our mind from playing golf the last few weeks, kind of personally, not on a PGA Tour basis. So I'm ready to have some fun on this one, guys.
Hey, Internet, glad to meet you. My name's SB. I think I have some spicy takes. Listen, I'm a golfer. I'm a country club golfer. I've been doing it a long time. Club Corp, ride or die, CC, prayers up. I think I know some stuff about golf and how to do it the right way. And I got some pickles I get myself into, and let's talk about them. Cause I think the most interesting thing is after a round of golf, talking about things that happen on the course, interactions with other people, how you handle yourself. And I think that's what I'm excited about to kind of hash out with these two other gentlemen.
Agreed. I was a country club golfer. I'm country club dropout. Was a country club golfer. Now I'm back in the public golf sphere, public golf life. Not loving it, I have to say. Wish I was back in that country club. Was with Shilzy at a golf course. So but agree with SB. I think this is a fun topics. All these little awkward situations that you get yourself on these golf courses. I don't know. I think we have some good takes and can maybe help you guys out along the way. I hope.
Listen, let's jump into it. Jump into it.
Perfect. So, all right. So the first topic we're going with is, I'm trying to say this in the briefest way possible, but basically, if you have your record score, but for whatever reason you're playing from the up tees. So whether you're trying to break 70, break 80, break 90, break 100, if you just have your best score, but for whatever reason, due to the tees, not being out that day, whatever the case may be, you're playing with a novice player, you play the up tees, and just kind of trying to get a feel of how legit is that, or obviously it's a legit number, but do you have any qualms about being that being your best?
Yeah, and I mean, where this came from is, I played with a guy the other day, and there was an outing that day, and so the tips were taken off, right? It was just tees from the outing, and we didn't know whether to play them or not, so we just said, hey, let's just play the blues. But as it turned out, the blues were where the whites were, right? And we didn't really know. It was our first time playing. It was a public course. We didn't know the place, so we just said, screw it, we'll play the blues. And he played one of the best rounds of his life. He's a 15 handicap. He'd broken 80 one time. He shot 79, played awesome, and shot 77. So at the end of it, I was like, hell yeah, man, that's awesome. I'm so happy for you. But then as I thought about it, I'm like, if that's me, how do I grade that? Right? Do I say, hey, that's awesome. I just shot my career low. Or do I say, I shot 77, but I feel a little skanky about it. You know what I mean?
So I would say it really all has to do with what your golfing level is and what your handicap is. If someone's under 10 and they do it from the whites, I don't care if you've never broken 80 before. Like myself, I'm an 8.2 right now, and if I've never broken 80, I've flirted with it a bunch of times, shot 80 on the dot, and if I play tomorrow and I break 80 from the whites, I'm really upset because I should be playing from the blues, right? And that's where I normally play. But for whatever reason, if I play up at the whites, and I do it, it's yeah, I broke 80, but it was it's not from where I usually play.
But let me ask you this: is it only breaking through a landmark 70 or 80 or 90 or 100, whatever your skill level is? If you had shot 79 before, right, that landmark has now been crossed. So if you shoot 77, it's not as momentum, not as of momentous of an occasion because you've already done it.
Right.
Yeah, but also from most people, think of it higher up, breaking 100, breaking 90. I don't think many golfers that are shooting those scores are worrying about what tees they're playing. They're usually just going to the
Right. I'm going to
consideration
play
of
wherever my
playing
buddies
the
tell me
tips,
to play from.
right? But also, like, there's the consideration of playing the tips is not even there. The consideration of playing the blues is probably not even there, and it's like the whites or like maybe what's one up from it, depending on how many tees the course has. So like the standard is the whites. If you're, I would say, let's like north of 10, maybe even north of 15. But once you
Yeah,
get
I'd say
down a little lower, it's blues or tips, and like to break the landmark, it's got to be of 80. Let's say 80 or 70. Like the landmark starts at the blues.
Well, I also think having an interesting perspective on this, even going away from tees, is I have one round where I broke par. My lowest round ever was a 69. Um, and it was at a course. We all know it. We don't have to say it on the podcast for the disrespect, but it's 5,200 yards. I grew up at that course, and it definitely feels a little bit different, being that's my lowest round. Where if I shot that on any other golf course, it would be unbelievable. I would be celebrating for weeks. But because it was on that one, I kind of knew deep down that I didn't play that well of golf. I just did it because I knew the course really well. I knew my way around it. A few putts dropped, and I obviously played pretty well. Not downplaying that, but it is kind of that same feeling where if I did that at another golf course, that would have been momentous. But because I did it there at a course that's super short, I know very well. It just feels
How many holes does that course have?
18.
18. So it's
Well,
If
18
you play
tee
it twice,
boxes.
if you play it
18,
twice,
yeah,
so
18
it's
tee boxes. No,
9 holes.
18 tee markers.
Oh, so you played different tees with the same exact holes and the same exact pins?
Same exact, yep, and
Uh,
same order, everything
yeah.
like that. But
I mean, I think that kind of counts. Maybe like it's like yeah. I mean, sure, we'll give you that one.
but that's the conversation. Like, does it count? Like, does it count or not?
yes, well, 100%.
So
That's
JB's
my
never
only under
broken
par
par.
round. So
JB's
yes,
never broken par. That's
when
all. I'll
people
take
say,
it.
"Have you shot under par?" It's yes, I have shot under par. And when they say, "Where did you do it at?" then that's when the Irish exit comes into play.
But also, SB,
I'm gone.
I'll throw this to you, SB. So, like, being a country club golfer like myself, it's one of those things where you have like a sense of pride about your place, and you'd like it to happen there, right?
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
I know my place like the back of my hand. I've played it 100,000 times, and like it should happen there, right? And then like if you go on vacation and you go play a stream song or a cabot or a band and you do it there, like that's cool, that's awesome, like you did do it.
That's best case scenario. Like
Right.
outside of your home.
Right, but like you still really really want your home breakthrough.
No, I think that's a good point. And like I think, when I play at my own club, it's like if I can shoot a good score there, it's so much more meaningful to me than doing it at like a public club when I'm playing with some buds or like even another private course that like I don't know. It's just like at your home, like that's where you want to play your best golf. That's where you're going to play in your members and your tournaments and all your stuff. And it's like when you can post a really good score at your home club, I do think it's a little more meaningful. So I totally get that. I think that makes a ton of sense.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I do agree with also what you said, SB, where it's at the same time it's awesome when you do it offsite because you have that little caveat of it being not your home club. It's a club that you've never played before,
Right.
and
It
when
was
you
an
do
away
it there,
game.
it's like, oh
You
man,
did it on the road. Like
yeah, you do
you're on the you're on the road. You're a 3-point dog on the road, right? Like if you do it on the road, that says your game travels. You know what I mean? Like
right.
Yeah, that means something.
that means
I mean,
something.
that's
And like
that's
some
something
people's
for
games don't
another
travel.
pod.
Yeah, like there's certain people that we all know them at the clubs we play at. They play really well at that club, and you take them anywhere else, and it's like, oh man, wait, there's out of bounds or there's water on this course. I can't fucking play here. Like, and
I
it's
mean,
like,
we're
no,
all
man.
you're talking about me. That's the problem we're
Well,
having here.
yeah, that's
My
fair.
game does not travel.
As
That's
long as
why I
there's no
played.
houses
That's why I
left,
shot
we're good.
69 there. I think at the course me and Shows you were at, you can kind of hit it everywhere except for one particular hole that I will not speak of. But and I've gone pretty low there, kind of low 70s, and I go to play, lined with houses, an SB track, a Club Corp track, and it could be triple digits.
You got to steer it around, man. You got to steer it.
I do not have the steer game.
You don't have the steer game.
92 and a box of Pro Vs. See you later.
Yeah, that's it. That'd be a good It'd be a good like podcast or like song name. 92 and a box of Pro V.
So like
Typical Saturday.
so this guy did it with 80, right? So let's say I did it. Let's say I played awesome yesterday and shot 68. I've never broken 70. My lowest round ever is 70, which was 2 under, but I've never broken 70.
Right.
Like, I do think there'd be a part of me that's like, it felt a little cheap. It felt like I was almost playing an executive course where it's like driver 52 yards in. So it's like, if you make a bogey from there, you really fucked up. Like, I don't know.
I think it's also very subjective. Like from what you're saying, it seemed like you guys played this course and it was like, it was a lot short. Like I think we kind of discussed a little earlier last night. We played a course. Don't have to mention it. Maybe a U.S. Open course upcoming. May have a foot in the design.
I may
we
have
played
won the member guest there. No big deal.
Won the member guest. I think it was intermediate or the fall member guest, but still pretty
guest.
solid.
Looking at the back on my wall right now, but yeah, it's something with foot in the name, I think.
But when we played there the first time, we played with a beginner golfer, so we played the white tees, and it was a lot shorter where we had wedges into par fives. And of course, disclaimer, it still beat us up, and we did not have any great rounds there because it's such a difficult golf course. But if I did shoot a really good round there, which would be awesome to shoot a low round at that type of golf course, there would be a part of me where I would feel like, yeah, but we kind of played it without the teeth. Like we played it a little shorter than it should have. So I think it is subjective. Like from what you're saying, it sounds like this guy shooting his low round probably should have a feeling of a little bit of an asterisk.
I mean, to mention Heritage Golf Links in Atlanta, Georgia in the same sentence of Wingfoot is disgusting. Like I don't, it's like apples to oranges, but I get what you're saying. It's just, this course it was probably 6,100 yards, like on a good day. I don't know. It was your normal public course. We just played it a box up, and
right.
I don't know where to fall on this. Like, I know he was super pumped, and like, obviously I would never say to him like, hey, like, is that your lowest? Is that really your lowest? Like, right. But it just kind of made me think, like, if I did that and I shot, the lightning struck and I shot 68 or something, like, I would be happy about it. But I think deep down I would think like, yeah, I know that's not like normally the courses I play and how I measure myself as a golfer.
Right. I think like SB or JB said, it all comes down to like being subjective. Like for someone who's starting out playing the game, whatever, like is low 90s, high 80s, whatever it is, and they go do it at a public track, and it is what it is. Whether it's public or private, forget the exclusivity of it. It really just depends on the track. Like I had a buddy who, walked into work one day and was like, yeah, I shot 67 the other day. And I was like, oh, sick, man. Where? And he goes, FDR. And I'm like, FDR? That's like the dog track. Yeah. That's a dog track of dog tracks in South Philly. Like that thing's like 4,700 yards. But like for him, who doesn't play it, I don't think he plays a ton of golf, but he plays enough golf to like hit it around, and he had the round of his life down there. So to him, that is the most amazing thing ever. He can hang his hat on saying that he shot, 68, but like to one of us three, if you said that to us, you'd be like, almost like how JB claims to shoot under par at a certain certain track.
Well, actually, I did something kind of like that in high school. I remember. So many moons ago, we played this course that was it was an executive course. So the par was a lot lower. I think it was a par like 57. It was called Arrowhead in PA. It was like 9-hole, and we played, and I remember they read my score over the loudspeaker, and I had like 60, 65 or something, which was 9 over par at a dog track. Like I did not play well. And I remember they read it like, and John Bowden, a 65 in the next in his most recent match.
Damn, all the ladies in homeroom looking over at you.
What's that?
All the ladies in your homeroom were like, "Oh, damn,
65." I'm like, yeah, par 72. But
this guy's going pro.
I mean, par is one thing, but it begs the question: do you go off of course rating at that point? Like Phoenixville, I had 69. I will say it's like 69.3 is the course rating, so I'm still under par there. But if you play a course that's a par 70, but you play the up tees and it's a 67.8, and you shoot 68, it like begs the question: do you say, hey, that's an under, that's my best round, I shot under par? Or do you say, technically you didn't because of this course rating, but
Yeah,
then
I think that,
our
I think
course
it's a good
ratings
point.
gospel. I don't know.
I think it's a good point. And so like when I posted my score from yesterday, um, I put it in as the whites, and the rating was 68.6.
Oh, geez.
So yeah, so I mean, listen, it's an easy public course, but it's not an executive. It's just an easy public course. Like
Right. From the white tees, that's probably a pretty standard rating, 68, 69 from the
you think is it?
from whites.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it?
I think so. I would think
Okay.
because I feel like blues are around 71, maybe. So it was a par 72.
Yeah, 72.
Oh, that's pretty low actually.
Low, right? Like
Yeah.
you're saying a scratch golfer will shoot four under there,
Yeah, I wouldn't shoot
almost
four
four
under.
under. Well, right, a scratch golfer though, not a
5-2,
7.
proud 5-2. No, so yeah, so that is low because I would assume the whites to be like 1 to 2 under par. I would think like the up
Right,
the furthest up men's tees because I
one up
see it
from the
as
men's.
right. Even though it's 2020, I see it as women's tees, senior tees, white men's, blue men's, and then the tips. That's in general.
Wait,
That's how I
white
see
like white
the tees.
males?
What? I'm not getting into that.
No, I think you're right. To
Yeah.
me, the white tees are kind of beginner men's tees. The blues are normal men's tees. You're an active golfer that plays a lot. You're somewhat experienced, and the tips is you're a very good player that
Right.
you want to take a challenge.
Yeah.
I think it's as simple as that.
Right.
Right.
I agree.
So I
'Cause, I
still
mean,
feel like the whites are the men's tees. So it's like it's fine if you play them like because for me it's if you play the
I think more
yellows or the
people should
reds.
play the whites, dude.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, for sure. Tee it forward. You're
See
a
it
like,
for
I
you.
mean,
company man.
me personally, like, I would say, when JB and I first started hanging out, like, I was anywhere from like a 12 to 15, and I never even thought about playing the blues. Even some of the guys that I just played with years ago, like, we go to a public course and it's like, cool, playing the whites. Like, to suggest the blues is like, all right, dude,
Yeah, that's the right
keep your
decision though.
heart up.
When you're
Right.
still kind of learning, like
Now, if I go to play tomorrow and I say, let's play the whites, I get a look like, the whites? What are you doing?
Right.
You not sleep last night or something? You need breakfast? What's the deal, man?
Well, I
Um,
also think too. I think what we make the point is sometimes playing the up tees with how far we hit it. Which I mean, we don't hit it that far, but just if you're a good golfer and you hit it between whatever 270 and 300, sometimes playing the whites are to your detriment because you're playing these holes that aren't supposed to fit your game. So you're hitting it through dog legs, stuff like that. And I know my game where I'm just as accurate with an 8 iron as I am with my driver. And that's not saying that my driver is accurate. That's saying that my 8 iron is not accurate. So it's like, yeah, just hit 4 iron off the tee. It's like, no, I still can hit a 4 iron off the planet.
right. It's like if I have to drop, I'd rather drop further up. Like,
Right, exactly. So it's like, yeah, I don't feel comfortable playing these shorter courses because I'd rather hit driver and hit it as far as possible and get past the house. Well, I guess maybe that's good to play whites, but
so on that point though, another pet peeve is like, why can't courses just standardize? Like sometimes you go to a course and it's like, oh, the golds are the back tees and the blues are the front ones and the white. It's like, can't everywhere just be like white, like ski mountains, right? You have greens, you have blues, you have blacks. Like it's standardized. It's
I can't
uniform
agree more.
across the world.
I
Like
can't agree more.
let's just make it like that. Hey,
Right.
whites are if you're a 15 to 25 handicap, you play the whites. If you're a 5 to 15, you play the blues. If you're below 5, you play the tips. Like
how would
it
you
needs to be
do how would you do players who are across the spectrum? Like if you played with a guy who's a 25 and you're a 6, would you still say play the same tee boxes? Or would you say screw the camaraderie? You don't even spend that much time on a tee box. Play the correct tee box for you because you'll be playing your second shot from the same spot.
That's tough. That's tough.
That's tough, but at the end of the day, like, if I roll up to the first tee and there's a 70-year-old guy there and he says, play what they normally say, play what you want. I'm going to play my tees, it's not a problem. You just walk back to your tees, you hit your shot, you walk up, and he's at his bag, ready to tee off at the senior tees.
Yeah,
Right.
that's fine. That's fine with a rando, right? But when you're playing with buddies, almost 90% of the reason you're out there is to hang out with your friends, right? Like, I don't want to be like, hey man, like you stink at golf, go play the whites. I'm gonna play the blacks or the blues. Like,
Get up there.
I think it's almost like you play from the, like you're only as fast as your slowest player type of thing.
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
and you play up and listen, like, yeah, like the rating is 68.6. So like, if I shoot a 75, like it's gonna be the same difference if I play the blues and shoot 79.
Mm-hmm.
Like when it comes to handicap and stuff, it's all figured out. Like it doesn't really matter, and you're probably gonna have more fun because you're like just hitting lob wedges into greens all day.
Right.
I will say I feel like there is maybe a little revolution in golf, and maybe because when I experienced the tip life and all that, I was like just a douchebag 16-year-old, and I remember thinking like I need to play the tips everywhere I go.
You're Mr. Tips.
Yeah, I was. Like the fact that
Should
I
be
say
tips.
play up is big because I wanted to play tips everywhere we went.
Yeah,
And
you've come full circle.
but I think I rarely play with somebody who's like, let's play the tips. Like very rarely do people say that unless the course is like 6,800 yards from the tips. Then maybe it's like, yeah, it's a shorter course. Let's play all the way back. But like very rarely do you get someone that's like, yeah, let's tip it out, dude. Like usually people are like, yeah, let's play the blues or maybe the whites. I feel like there is a little bit of a let's not get our asses kicked. Which is awesome, which I used to love to do when I was young. I wanted to be, I thought I was PJ Tour material when I wasn't even anywhere close. So I wanted to play the toughest courses, and then I realized, just try to have as much fun as possible.
You weren't drive, pitch, and putt material.
Yes,
you did advance through the sectional
sectionals. I'll never
SB,
forget the guy I lost against used. There was those like joke tees you would get old people, and it was like, so it was just like, hey, got you this tee. It was like just like a joke, and it was like super. It was like this massive tee,
6 inches long.
Yeah, and the guy I played used it in the long drive contest. I mean, this kid, if I don't know, it was like Paul.
I wonder
Bunyan
what that guy's doing right now. Like,
probably forging his birth certificate to join the drive, chip, and putt.
SB,
But I remember I got up, I was like, I have no shot against this dude. That was before like I could go to Augusta. I remember I'll never forget actually when I won the opening round. The guy got my name wrong, and he said Bilo. He was like Bilo, and everyone was like, oh, it's Bilo. And he said, I have to correct myself to a name we will never forget and get wrong again because he'll be here for a while. And he said that, and of course, that was the start of my downfall.
Now you're doing a podcast.
Now I'm a 5'2" sitting in my apartment doing a podcast.
Thinking about what could have been.
SB,
we'll never forget this name.
On the topic of tees, SB, what about to kind of figure them out and figure out what you should play, especially for like a new person, the 5-iron equation? Remember we talked about that a little bit?
Remind me.
Like take what you hit your 5-iron.
Oh, right. Multiply it by 36, right?
36, and then that would be what range of tees you should be playing.
See, I think that holds some water, but so if I hit my 5-iron 200 yards, that means I should play 7,200, and it's like, yeah, I can play 7,200, and I'm fine with that. But like, do I want to do that every time I play golf? Like, not really. I don't know. Like, I'm not making the PGA Tour. I play golf to have fun. Like, 7,200. If I hit my drive 280, 290, like, it's a grind. It's hard. Like, you're hitting 5-irons and 6-irons into greens. Like, I'll do it to like test myself from time to time, but I just don't like. Get a lot of joy from like playing really long courses. I just don't. And maybe I'm weird with that, but I'd rather, I play golf once a week, once every 2 weeks, depending, but I don't know. I think it's close to that number, but 7,200 is a long golf course. Like,
yeah, that's like a pro level course.
Yeah. And I mean, we all probably hit our 5-iron pretty close to 200. So that means we should all play 7,200 yards every time we tee it up, like, yeah, I'm good. I'll play 68. Like, I'll play
Yeah.
the men, you know?
Yeah, that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah, and I think that's almost like the max you should play. Like that should be the number where if it's any higher than that, you go like, nah, I'm not even trying at this place because
Right.
then if you hit your 5-iron 175 yards and you're playing a 7,400 yard golf course, it's like it's going to be literally driver 3 wood for you across the
All
board
day.
probably,
Yeah.
which would just be insane.